All right, welcome to Proper Modulation, episode 2. I meant to say, hey now.
Hey now.
Restart. No, we can't restart. Welcome to the show, everybody. How's it going, Kurimanju?
Pretty much just doing good, man.
How's your Friday?
Friday's a good day in the Manju household, in the Kurimanju household. I had some time to do some exercises.
Okay.
So my wife is Shoke Sensei.
I don't know what that means.
She's a calligraphy teacher, and she made
Okay.
me bagels from scratch
Okay.
morning. So it's a wonderful day. I get to talk to my lovely friends who love the Stern Show for as long as I can. I'm feeling good. How about you?
Nice. I went to Orange Theory this morning. It was a very difficult workout today. It was the 12-minute benchmark run, where you have to see how far you can run in 12 minutes.
Okay.
And I'm not in shape because
What's your time?
it's 12 minutes. It's everybody's time is 12 minutes. It's a 12-minute run.
So you see how long you can run in 12 minutes.
The Mrs. Chibi said the same thing to me when I was telling her this. And that's how I knew she wasn't paying attention. Just like you. Just kidding.
Sounds like a smart woman. You got to save the brain cells for something. I mean, you talk like for a living. So she probably has the idea like, why am I going to listen to this guy drone on? I know he has nothing good to say.
She's heard it
and
all.
then you got to rewind it back and say, oh, he did say something. What did you say?
She's heard it all. Stop moving the mic so much. You're making me nervous. What are you doing over there? Kurimanju got a new mic, a new professional mic with a mic arm. But he's making love to it now. He's caressing it. It still will make noise when you move it, even with all that
I won't
shit.
touch it.
So get it. I would recommend getting it in a good position, and then you move your head around it. You know what I'm saying? That's pro tips.
That's what you got from Chris Wilding.
It took me a minute to get there, but you were talking about a penis.
Penis. I want my penis.
I think there's some comment about that actually. Oh yeah, wait, hold on. We'll get to the show feedback because there is some comment about that. So I was telling Mrs. Chibi, last week after we recorded the show, she asked how it went, and I explained the same thing that I explained to you live on air. I was like, oh, it was a little weird. I had to call him Kurimanju on air. I didn't realize that was going to happen. And she's like, what's his name? And I said, Kurimanju. And she started laughing. And she's like, wait. She's like, what does that mean? Just like, does he know what it means? And I was like, I'm sure he knows what it means. He's fluent in Japanese. Like, I don't know what it means. He said it was something to do with like a snack or something. But apparently that's also slang for vagina, I believe, like manju.
Kuri
And kuri is also, they're both slang actually.
Right. But in this case, it
Yes.
comes from kuri,
Yes.
chestnut,
Okay.
and manju, which is like a dumpling, like hybrid between like a dumpling and an empanada.
Right.
So it's a kuri manju.
It's not clit vagina.
No,
Is kuri clit or is kuri vagina?
To perverts, I'm sure that's how they refer to it.
Okay.
But you're
What about a classy gentleman such as yourself?
Mrs. Chibi probably doesn't ever refer to her body parts with those words. So
Well, she started laughing as soon as
Of
I told her.
course.
Say what? She's like,
She's
say
used to
that
it.
again?
she's used to your other boneheaded friends.
Well, I don't know. Well, they're not that sophisticated that they speak other languages.
I'm playing.
So,
No, but because my name is difficult for Japanese people to say.
right.
It's long, right? So kuri is the part they could say. So they started calling me Kuri-chan because Japanese people end names with chan.
Especially for
it's like
children, usually.
Yeah, or people that it's an endearing term for family members,
Okay. Yes.
So I like that. It felt like welcoming. This is awesome. I mean, I've never had like a Japanese nickname before.
Right.
I've
No, that's
spoken
cool.
Japanese much longer than I've been married. So it's like, wow, that's very nice.
I never got
warmed
one.
my heart. They don't like you, man. When did you?
But wait, hold on, wait. So,
Yes.
but you speak Japanese fluently, so you knew that those are slang words for.
そうと思いました.
So, did they know? I mean, like, is everybody in on this joke?
So that's where I outed myself as a perv because so I'm like, I like this name. I think I want to use this name.
Okay.
I like it. So I look it up
Okay.
and I find the Google Translate, which sucks.
Okay, you're right.
And,
Doesn't help you.
that's exactly what it goes to. And I can't find it. My wife, she's like trying to tell me that she tells me sometimes that I think too small.
Okay.
There's a different meaning because it's actually a dessert. It's a snack.
Right.
It actually exists. People buy it. People spend money on it. It like,
It's like vagina.
well, they usually call it different names when they spend money on it than Turimanju. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
So like, so in that sense, so they had to help me grow my brain a little bit because I kept going to that like an American. And they're like, no, that's not what we're saying. Like a perverted
American.
Like a perverted American who loves Howard Stern. What's wrong with that? A red-blooded American. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm different. Maybe I'm special. I mean, is that wrong? Is that weird to love Howard Stern? I mean, to like put it on and like to listen to it.
Yes, Jeff.
Maybe.
You're a very sick man.
But anyways.
So that was fun. So that was funny. So so now we know.
I laughed at it a lot. I think it's hilarious.
So was that your first reaction when your relatives said that to you? You were like, "Oh, why are they calling me clit vagina?"
Yeah, I said I don't think I like that. And she's like, "That's not what they're saying." And I said, "Oh, okay, I get it now. You're saying it means something different."
That's the best part of the story. How could you leave that out last week?
I don't know. Maybe I was nervous. I was trying to get off a boring topic.
Pro tip: any story that you have that involves clit vagina, that's the lead of the story.
I got a lot of those. How much time you got?
One of my friends in college, he would always like say weird things in front of other people to see how they would react. There was a theory that if you said something really weird enough, people would assume that you didn't actually say it. Like it didn't happen, that they misheard it, or, that something else happened. Like it was maybe like a noise or something.
Right.
And it was evidenced by like a kid in the classroom. He wanted to prove the theory. It's a kid in like his high school. He just yelled out like, "How long does it take a man to get a blowjob, queer?" Just in the middle of like math in high school. And like nothing happened because it was just so weird. So my friend in college, he learned from his friend in high school, and he went up to one of our friends who was with his girlfriend at the time. And he said something, I don't even remember what he said, something about clit. It's something about like, yeah, you got a big clit or something. I don't even know, something like that. Just same theory. If I say something so outrageous, people will question whether they heard it or not. Right. And then like, his friend was like, he literally said, "Dude, don't say clit in front of my girlfriend." Dude, don't say clit in front of my girlfriend. Anyway, now we shouldn't say clit anymore for the rest of the show. We've worn it out.
I'd like to move on from the clit talk.
Yeah, let's move on to the show feedback. The first one is from Tommy. He says, "The first episode was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. Hope to hear more reminiscing and hearing your guys' views on classic moments as well as the new stuff. Also, I love when you got called out on wanting to be blown like a gay man. I died. Good stuff."
Tommy's the man, obviously.
I stand by that. I'm not embarrassed by that. I've come to appreciate experts in my life. I'm not embarrassed to say that I take table tennis lessons weekly with a pro, like maybe not a pro, but quasi pro, because you can basically pay anybody $50 to $60 an hour who's an expert in something and get like one-to-one training. And I appreciate that. So to have a guy like Chris Wilding, who, if there's ever been an expert on blowjobs, it sounds like he's it. He's very proud of it. So why would I not want to have that experience, not from a man, but from my wife?
I get your point.
You understand?
Man.
It's nothing to be embarrassed about. I'm very comfortable with my sexuality.
I apologize tremendously if you were embarrassed in any way. We grow up in a fluid type of sexuality, type of society, and I think we've made some significant improvements in that
I haven't grown up in that. Who grew up in that? Not me.
Now you're going to start yelling out body parts.
I grew up in a society where you called things that you didn't like gay.
Right.
And then eventually you meet gay people and then you start saying things that are you mean to say bad or something
grow your vocabulary,
something negative, and you're saying gay in front of gay people, and then you realize it, and then you're like, wow, like that's fucked up.
Pretty ignorant, right?
Pretty bad. But people today, I don't think, are growing up in that way. They're
not to dip into the stern stuff, because this is very interesting about how you want to be blown like a gay man.
By Chris, specifically.
Specifically because he described exactly what you want to have a man do to you. So, I mean, he said it. Okay, anyway, moving on.
I was impressed with the level of expertise. If he was explaining, like, how to shingle a roof, maybe it would have been I wouldn't have been as interested, sure. But
you wouldn't have had an erection, is what you're saying.
I don't have roof shingles. I don't have shingles on a roof. That's why.
Oh, he's getting meta on me.
Anyway, what were you saying?
I don't remember. I'm still laughing at the blow me like a gay man.
Right. I'm just telling the audience out there, if you have access to experts, use it. That's the key point.
So, okay. So here's what I want to ask you show-wise, because this is a good thing.
Yes.
Howard, throughout the year, so this week he I forget what the nature of the clip was. My outline went blank, so I'm just going to go off of obsessive memory.
Yeah.
He always has a thing against people who are taught a skill or self-taught. He gets jaded because, like you said last week, he sees himself as, if he grew up now, he is so creative and talented, he could do the whole show on Instagram or YouTube or whatever and be a gazillionaire like Olivia Jade. And he was talking about painting and how he meets painters and he gets so pissed off at the self-taught ones because, like, he has to work so hard at it. He didn't start early enough in his life, and he will never, ever be able to attain this level of success that they can naturally do.
Oh, he's jealous of the self-taught. He's pissed that he's got to take lessons.
He's got to take lessons. He has to work the hard way yet again at everything that he might have been naturally talented at doing. Right. So my question to you is, why do you think, what's your opinion as to why he has this tick? Because personally, as an artist myself, I Am Cody Manager is the name of my character. That's also part of the whole thing. It's a whole story. But
it's a movie.
It's a manga. It's everything. But why does he have such an animosity towards people who have a self-taught ability? He's self-taught on radio to a degree, even though he had a lot of shit jobs. He taught by watching his father. He learned it at a level intrinsically, do we say your son's name?
Sure.
Like Ty has on ping pong, because he's watched you become an expert.
But I got him lessons, though.
But still, he's seen it at a different level than somebody without lessons.
Sure. I think Howard
even before you gave him lessons, he was exposed to it. Howard became a radio personality later on in his career and got quote unquote lessons. He went to school, he got lessons. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going long. I'm going to
answer your question. Howard is jealous of people that he thinks are happier than him, I feel. Maybe subconsciously he is.
Okay.
Because if you look at where he got, how he got to be where he is today in his career, it's a lot of he had to go through a lot of like unhappiness and a lot of darkness, a lot of time alone in the basement. It ended his first marriage. He sacrificed a lot to be where he is today. And so I'm sure he's always conscious of that, or subconscious of that at least. And so he sees people that, like, hey, here's a guy supporting himself as an artist. He seems pretty happy. And I think he knows, like, he's got limitless money.
Right.
And I'm sure that
you think money's on his mind like that?
No, I'm saying, I'm going to say, like, he's got limitless money, but I don't think he's got limitless happiness. Like, I think the money has not bought him happiness. Like, it's just a thing that he's got and just part of his arsenal. So I think he gets jealous of people, like anybody. Like, who doesn't get jealous of people? And we just happen to hear this person talk about his life all the time.
Right,
so we have insight to that. Some more show feedback.
Yes.
From Gordon at Gordon Oncology writes in, and he says because we were talking about our most memorable Stern Show moments, things that we remember where we were when we listened to them, and we'll just never forget it. He says, my remember moment is when Beat and Gary the Conqueror were in the spelling contest. Howard asked Beat to spell red multiple times. I actually was walking to the lab to grow and harvest cells in a tissue culture hood. So he remembers exactly what he was doing at that
Holy
time.
crap.
That's awesome.
What's his name again?
His name is Gordon Oncology.
Gordon Oncology. Did we work in the same lab?
Right. I remember. I knew we talked about like why I couldn't figure out why this was familiar, and then I remembered we talked about it.
I saw that on the outline. I was like, is that a copy and paste there? Because like, I put time into this. Like, you don't know this. Like right before he says, I can't use what you sent me. And he completely erases it. He reorganizes it. I can't find my comments. I have my comments color coded so I know what I said instead of his drivel. And it's like, what the F?
Oh, the outline. You're talking about how I ruined the outline. The microphone. I had to you had like tables and shit on here. Like, what am I going to do with tables? I'm trying to like write things.
Don't you want to see real-time analytics of which comment you should be looking at?
No.
There's a graph. There's a real-time. Turn on the heads-up display.
I don't have that. They should have that on the microphone, like a screen on the microphone. That would be good.
I'm going to put that on my Twitch, and I'm going to activate it by tweak that.
Right.
And it's like...
I thought of another Stern Show memory that I remember like pretty fondly. My friend somehow purchased Crucified by the FCC, which was like, I feel like it was $100. Was it $100?
When did that come out? I think it was $100.
Let me see here. It came out in.
I don't think I've ever listened to that. A good buddy, like my best man at my wedding, but that's like his Stern experience.
Oh, I mean, I don't know, but I see the track listing here. Doesn't say the price.
What's your favorite?
I just remember sitting in my friend's room. Like my friend moved to my friend used to live around the corner from me. And then his dad made too much money. His dad like was just making way too much money.
Don't you hate that?
I didn't hate it. It was awesome. Like his dad was a real estate lawyer. So they did like property tax valuations and shit. I don't know, but I knew that he had season tickets to the Islanders, and he took me all the time, and he lived right around the corner from me. And eventually he moved. This is coming fucking full circle, baby. He fucking moved to Howard Stern's neighborhood when Howard Stern was living on Long Island.
Holy shit. Okay.
So I had to drive. So my friend moved there, and then so I had to hang out with him. I had to drive like 20 minutes or something to go hang out with him. But I remember he moved into this huge fucking house, and I remember sitting in it was a huge fucking bedroom that was bigger than like my parents' bedroom and my bedroom put together. And we listened in his room to Crucified by the FCC. He had the CDs. I remember you had a choice. You could buy it on cassette tape or CD. And he got the CDs, and it was awesome. It was just like, this is luxury. I'm sitting in this beautiful house in this fancy neighborhood. Like Howard Stern's right around the corner. I don't even know if I was thinking about that at the time, that he was just like right there. But
destiny works in strange ways, my child.
Yes, Crucified by the FCC memories.
What's your favorite piece of that? Have you listened to it again in a while?
I don't know. I was looking at the track listing to try to like see if I could remember.
What's the track? Tell us the track listing.
The list, you can click on that link, and if you don't have the outline. There was a Fart Man bit. There's something. There's the homo room. Do you remember?
Oh, remember Eric ETM got like so pissed about the homo room. No, I'm not going in the homo room. Doesn't he know it's a bit?
He doesn't care.
Eric, no,
he doesn't want to look. He doesn't want to. Remember, he wouldn't even play a gay role in a TV show.
Right, he
knew that was fake, but he couldn't deal with that. There's some Stern family stuff. There was Sam and Jessica. Sam Kinison and Jessica Hahn.
Oh yeah, that stuff was like the beginning, in my opinion. That was like reality TV's kind of forebears. Like right. Just Sam Kinison's appearances were just so crazy intense.
Right.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, he was on cocaine.
Yeah, but
drunk.
but it's like a kid.
Yeah.
And this is in the morning.
Right. Well, he was on cocaine and drunk. You know what I remember from Crucified by the FCC? I think this is on here. I'm not sure, because this is a track listing called Various Bit Remembers. Oh. And one of my favorite guests of all time is Richard Simmons. And I believe I remember a segment where Gary is talking about Richard. and how Richard would be goofing on. He'd be totally goofy when they're off the air and saying all kinds of crazy shit off the air. And as soon as they go on the air, he would turn into like straight Richard, like normal Richard Simmons. So he would say, so Gary said he would be showing you his balls and stuff. And then you would call him out on it. And he would say, Gary, why would you say I showed you my balls when you know it's not true? I think I'm getting that right. I'm not 100% sure. I could be like combining things, but it was a long time ago.
We'll tweet it out later.
Yeah, we'll see if we can find that.
We can find the thing.
Who even knows? And last bit of show feedback at Waltz FEO writes in and says, while I appreciate your Stern fandom, you share exactly the right amount of your Stern love on the CAGcast. Thanks for starting up a second show instead of doing more of it on CAG. And stay tuned for my third show called Table Tennis Dreams. If you want to send us your show feedback and we can read it here on the show, follow us on Twitter and hit us up at ProperModPod. That's Testing. At ProperModPod.
Testing 1, 2.
It's a little too long. Proper modulation, like 1 or 2 more characters too long. As a Twitter handle.
I like the way it sounds.
But Proper Mod Pod's got that good onomatopoeia, I think.
Proper Mod Pod. It could be good warm-up talk. Like, you could do that to like a warm-up your voice before you broadcast.
Proper Mod Pod. Proper Mod Pod. Proper
How
Mod.
many times can you say that?
Proper Mod Pod. Keep remembering it. All right, follow us. We have like 4 followers. Now it's time for...
Thanks, Mom.
I have not told my mom that I'm doing this. Now it's time for our Stern Show News segment, I think. This is all like a work in progress, and I thought like we could talk about, first of all, we need a name for this segment.
Okay,
like
so
opening the green eye.
No, that's too illusory. So I'm thinking the news, I like calling it rando news.
Okay.
Just random things that they would have covered if the show went a full week.
Okay.
You know, and there's usually, it's like they've multiplied that with the it used to happen on the vacations, you know, and on the vacations, there'd always be like 3 people who died. And usually when it's like the random vacation that they're just doing because they got a great show and great schedule and
right.
You know, I don't hate, I look forward to that life.
You would get that deal if you, I mean, like he said, look, pay me this amount of money for this many shows. And they said, okay. I mean,
exactly.
If they didn't think it was a good deal, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, so I'm not hating, but
yep.
At the same time, they'd go on vacation, and then it'd be like 3 people dead, or and it'd be the things you wanted to hear them riff on for 4 freaking hours.
The fucking Capitol riot.
Seriously, I was like, man, where's my Stern? I need my Howard Stern. I need my Howard Stern, and I couldn't get it. And I'm like sitting there flipping through YouTube, looking for like historic things that are taken down. I can't find them. I go to the 101. You know, I get my little clips, etc. So I think, but it always falls in that rando news kind of category, like the woman crying because she got maced at the Capitol. If only he could have talked about that while it was happening, because he could have turned on Twitch or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know, it's like ah.
Anyway, so a lot of stuff is going on this week. By the way, if you have a better name for our news segment, Proper Mod Pod on Twitter. Scott the Engineer is now on Cameo. Big news. If you've been waiting. What is he getting? $50? Is that what he's asking for?
I don't even know. I rely on you for like how that stuff makes sense because I'm too old. I'm like younger than you and older fashioned than you. I can't keep up. But you usually keep me on point, and I look forward to that relationship continuing. Do you know?
Yes, it's 50. Oh, you were killing time. It was $50. I was right. I looked yesterday. I checked it out yesterday.
Is he gonna get $50?
Scott,
are you gonna pay $50 for the black card? Why would you? Like
it'll fuck you up.
Haven't you seen that like Egyptian film already where they wake up the mummy and then the mummy's cursed, stupid.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I think Scott is awesome. And,
right, he's in Florida. He's looking tan.
He's looking tan. I wish he did this earlier. I'm glad to see him engaging with Shuli on the Twitters and stuff because I want all those guys to be successful. I enjoy their content. They were before the ability to broadcast so easily and expensively. So
yeah.
But do $50?
I think it's a little much. But by the way, Boff Zeno in the chat points out that everybody who's associated with the Stern Show, whether or not you are an employee or a whack packer, is just bundled under Howard Stern's whack pack. There's a special category for it.
Okay.
So
wow.
Scott is in there. Shuli is in there. Some people who I've never heard of, like Sam Alex. I don't know who that is. He got in there.
You know what? I would pay for Scott to do 6 + 6 minutes. How many is that, Gary? Come on. I mean, or like,
you better pay off, Stern.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That was great. That was great. I mean, I love that push-up saga. Do you remember that?
Of course I do.
That was golden. That's why, like, for me, as much as I love the show now, and I'm always going to be addicted, it just works for me. I was hypnotized in the tissue culture hood, like our doc. Our doc. And
Gordon.
Back in the day, he could go for a month on that. Like, what else? What's another Scott thing? Working on Sun CD during the show. Okay.
Right.
I mean, that was, I can't take my ears away, because there's always the idiot in the office where you work doing something that you wish you could ream him out about.
And
but
make fun of him for a month on air.
For a month or something.
For millions of people.
And then maybe make some scratch on the side, because we're going to bet on it now. Scott saying he's going to take Lexington Steel. Okay. For how much was it? It was like $500 or something, $300.
No, it was 100,000, I think, right? Or
what did it start out at?
I don't know. I don't remember, but he never agreed to it. That was the holdup.
Because he went home and talked to his family, and they said, "What, are you stupid?" No.
Well, Lexington Steel went on record saying that he never agreed to do it.
Listen, I feel bad for the guy. I mean, he did
250. It was 250.
He did get dragged a little bit into that. Imagine he's a listener and he's like on the shoot. And they're like, "Are you ready? Are you ready, Lex?" And he's like, "Yes." And he's like knocking over microphone stands and stuff. Right, and he turns around and hitting people in the face, and like the key grips are like getting a road rash from like rug burn from getting brushed against the member. And then he hears that Scott is willing to take $250,000 just to receive Lexington Steel.
Yeah, but it doesn't help him any. It's Scott getting that money. What's Lexington getting? Lexington's making like probably $200 a day, And he's like, wait a minute. Scott has no question that Scott is one of he's in the Hall of Fame, the Stern Hall of Fame.
I think
so many bits have gone around his bad luck, and to the point where you feel bad for him almost. Like,
yeah.
I was young then, so I don't know that I actually had that much empathy then. But I love, just like you, I love like him getting made fun of, Baba Booey, any of the staff members getting reamed out. Those are like some of the best bits to me, because you can hear.
It's golden.
You can hear their hearts breaking, like almost. You can hear their souls being crushed. Because you can tell if something's genuinely bothering somebody, or if they just like let it, slide off them. And no, people weren't letting anything slide. So any of them, I mean, like,
watch someone die inside is like my favorite. Watch people die inside is my favorite subreddit.
Yeah,
and like the Stern Show was like the beginnings of that subreddit, because that's the show you tune in to watch. Sorry to burst your bubble get turned into an entirety of a show. Gary saying, "Sorry to burst your bubble, boss," and then Howard starting the show and ending the show, ripping him to shreds for 3 words.
Yes,
at work.
Of course. Yeah, that hasn't happened in a while. I guess. What do you think the last time that really happened was? Maybe the pitch, Gary's pitch.
Oh no,
that went for a long time.
Oh no, I can't tell you. I think the pitch went for a while. Jason, I just listened to Jason and Gary arguing over the plantains.
That was short-lived. That was very short-lived.
It sounded very intense though, because I remember Jason and Gary being such great buddies, and now it's like, you're not my boss, you know, in your office, and anyway, I'm off, dude. Why you let me blab? I don't even know what we're talking about.
We're talking about Scott the Engineers on Cameo. Do you think? Then you asked is anyone really going to pay $75 or $50 for him?
$50, yeah.
So who do you think is the most popular? I mean, I know who the most popular Stern Show is. Guy on Cameo. That's got to be High Pitch Eric. It's got to be
High Pitch,
because you can look at the number of reviews, and he's got like 1,000 reviews, and that's just a small percentage of the people who've actually paid him money. So he's made a lot of money. Who do you think is number 2 after? So I don't think it's even a question that High Pitch is number 1.
Listen, I love High Pitch. He's I think So how does Cameo work? Is that where they call you and you do a recording?
They make
for
a
them?
message. You just pay them money and you say, "Hey, it's my friend's birthday. Can you record a message?" So they have. Let me tell you who's on there. Brent.
Elegant Elliot Offen would be. He would kill it, but because he's going to rob them before they sign the contract. Like he's going to lift their wallet while they're signing the contract, thinking that he like made out with the like a like a boss. Shit. Gangsta style, okay? For a double sawbuck, that's whatever fucking dollars. Jay Corson at the state.
You do a fucking really good Elliot.
I gotta wait till my wife's not working because I get stuck, and I really do go into shit coma, right? And she's got to work, So.
I don't think he's on here, Elliot. Let me just type in Elliot.
I hope he's not. He's gonna rob somebody.
He's not on here. Yeah, he's gonna like something bad. He'll say something bad and that they don't allow. I don't know.
He'll start threatening people.
I would say if I had to guess, yeah, it's gonna be bad. I'm gonna say number one is high pitch, no question. Then it's gonna be you got Bobo. I think Bobo is coming in number 2 at $50. Okay, so you got high pitch at 75. You got Bobo coming in at 50.
Bobo's not so stupid.
You got Tan Mom at 100, but that could be Tan Mom.
She would be my number 2.
She could be
if you get like somebody, the handlers for Jimi Hendrix.
Yes.
Okay. Because they would just get him, stand him up, put it in his hands, and then magic would occur. Okay?
Right, yeah.
And then they take him to where, like, or Michael Jackson, they'd take him out of the coma, put him back into the coma, whatever the F. But with if they could get Tan Mom, like my favorite,
they got her. She's on here, $100. People,
but she's not going to be able to do it. She's not going to deliver.
She's number 3.
But how long? How long?
Well, as long as she doesn't until she dies from a drug overdose. I'm assuming.
Let's hope not.
She's number 3.
Mom, stay on the program.
I'm saying she's number 3. That's my guess. Then you got like Brent and Jeff the Drunk. Do people care about Jeff the Drunk that much? I'm going to say not that. Maybe more than Brent. Jeff the Drunk is 4, definitely ahead of Brent. But Brent's got his wife in there showing skin.
All right.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I got to say, I get Fred the Elephant Boy, $25 is a big value. I think he's probably number 5.
Oh, Fred the Elephant Boy. Oh, my goodness.
His hair
I don't know, but
dyed.
who does Cameo anyway? I go around my house just saying nonsense to myself. Like I record it for myself.
Right. Well, people, I mean, High Pitch Eric has made 6 figures. I'm going to say.
Have you ever done a Cameo?
No, I'm not on there. I'm not accepted on there.
They don't want you?
They don't want me. They want, if I'm on the Whack Pack, I can get on there, but I'm not on the Whack Pack.
But get a drug problem.
Hey, maybe the Stern Show podcast, we can get on there. But who's paying? Like, and I would feel really weird about recording messages for people.
I think it's I think it's not the best way to highlight your celebrity. Or
what if it's
creativity.
like $10 or $5, like a reasonable price?
I go on the Howard end. Like I feel like it cheapens the final product because it's too easily accessible. But I'm old fashioned. I didn't know Cameo existed until you told me.
Oh yeah. So here's the follow-up question. So there's like if Howard let the Stern Show, the people who are on the show now, go on Cameo to supplement their income, who do you think would be the top earner? Not including, can't be Howard, can't be Robin, can't be Fred.
Okay.
Fred wouldn't do it anyway.
Who's the guitarist guy?
And Baba Booey wouldn't. No Baba Booey.
Steve Norwicki.
Steve Norwicki's number 1? No.
He's the musician?
Yes,
right?
Yes, he's very talented.
I think he did like a proper modulation, like remix on YouTube.
He did. I saw it.
Right?
It's on his channel. He's got a YouTube channel.
Right? So I think he'd have the most large. He or who's the one that you want to blow you again? Chris Wilding.
That's no.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. What I meant to say was Chris Wilding, who we referenced earlier in the show.
Yes, correct.
For those just jumping in, Chris Wilding is a great, like, elite status.
You don't think Sal would be number 1? Not Sal.
I think that's a good point. I feel like
Sal and Richard
have a variety.
Combo.
Oh, Sal and Richard, if they just did unending phony phone calls, they would make $1 trillion.
They're not going to do that though.
That'd be great. I wish they would do that. I would join Cameo.
I think
sometimes I have to stop listening to the phony phone calls because I'm going to hurt myself laughing.
Right. If Howard allowed the staff to do, he's certainly not allowing the staff to go on Cameo and do phony phone calls or bits like that.
That would
obviously
be heavenly, but they're not going to be able to go to Cameo. We're doing a complete hypothetical. Now you're giving me all these provisos, quid pro quos.
I want you to choose my answers.
Is that on the outline too?
My guess is that Sal and Richard would combine forces and do them all together. Because that's how they like to do things.
Well, they were saving some of their best stuff. They were saving some of their best stuff for after Howard retires. So don't worry. They've said that. Remember, they got reamed out for like a whole segment.
I don't remember. They said that.
Oh, this was great. So they're at a comedy show. Okay. This is one of the times where that's why I think Sal is such a great guy, but he needs direction and management.
Okay.
Because he's on stage with Richard and they're talking about how it's like after the show and they're talking to the crowd and they're saying, don't worry, we're going to be doing this forever. And even after Howard retires, we're saving some of our best stuff.
Oh, God.
For after that, we're going to do.
And somebody recorded it and they played it on the air and they played it on the air.
And Howard just plays it. How stupid are you? He just plays the thing. And they're like, oh, no, we did it. He's like, sounds like he's like, I misrepresented myself. It's like, what?
Right.
How can you misrepresent yourself, Sal? It's you.
Yeah. No, Sal and Richard would make a fortune doing that. Even if it's just like, hey, bub, happy birthday.
Oh, man. I love it.
Benji, like
your dad or something like,
people would like it.
Your dad or whatever.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And people in the chat are saying Benji and Ralph.
Benji and Ralph.
No one's giving Ralph money. No one wants to give Ralph money. No.
If you could have Ralph just like go on the script and just do an evaluation of the person as if it was back in the day, you think that's too old, too hardcore?
I don't think
I think some people might find that funny.
Let me ask you a question, my friend.
Please.
You are a diehard Stern fan, obviously, by just being here. Would you give Ralph money?
No, I would give none of these people money. I would just sit around and practice for a week, and then I would do the voice to myself.
If you had to buy one of these and give money to somebody, don't you think Ralph would be pretty low on your list of people who you would think it's acceptable to give money to?
I'm trying to put my brain in the brain of someone who would spend money on Cameo.
You probably can't do that.
I can't fit it in.
That's okay. Enough Cameo. Let's move on.
Good luck to Scott, though. Good luck to Scott on Cameo.
Yes. I hope he makes some money. And I don't know like what he would do, but DJ?
You DJ. He DJ'd the parties, dude. Wait, music the way you want it.
Right.
What was the name of the company?
Oh God. I forget.
Music the way you want it.
Somebody in the chat will get it. You were saying earlier that Howard is always off when celebrities die.
Yes.
And Screech passed away this week.
Right. Do you remember his first thing?
I remember he talked about that he had a very big penis and that his balls would hang in the water, I believe. Something like that. Is that correct? Is that the first appearance?
It brings it back to me. I'm like vomiting in my mouth. Just hearing, what is this guy saying? And this was Screech. This was our Screech, the little double.
Yeah, I love that show.
And then he turns out to be quite the interesting character on the inside, like many talented individuals. How did he pass away?
He had cancer.
Oh, do you know what type?
Lung cancer, maybe?
Oh, wow.
I'm not 100% on that.
That's sad.
Sorry,
that's sad.
Not 100%.
It's a painful way to go.
I came across David Spade. I follow him on Instagram. I think that's where I saw it. And he did like a little video about. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, okay. You were not like you saw it.
I like this. I'm looking forward to the story. Yeah.
He's pretty good. Like I know people give Howard shit because it seems like he's on the show like every other week. Even though he's not, but he is on the show frequently. But he is always good on the show. It's never like I've never like not laughed listening to an interview with Spade. Right. Like it's just he's really good at telling stories. Like he's hilarious. Funny. So
he's super talented.
Anyway, he goes on his Instagram and he does a thing about Dustin Diamond dying, and he says like I feel really bad. What's that?
Is it funny?
It wasn't that funny. It was just like. He worked with him on a movie called Dickie Roberts, I think.
Okay.
Which was about like the perils of being a childhood star, how it usually doesn't work out as an adult. And he basically went on to say that he felt really bad for people like Dustin Diamond who had fame very early on but not a lot of money, because you don't really make a lot of money in a situation like that.
Right.
And then you grow up, and then people, they're not hiring you for any job because you're Screech from Saved by the Bell, and
right. No, your balls touch the water. Your balls touch the water, or was it the shaft or the balls?
I think it was the balls. I'm not 100%.
Toilet.
Yeah, it was a toilet.
Okay,
water.
Just wanted to let that sit in. Please finish.
And he said, he felt bad for him. He felt really bad for him,
right.
and because there's nothing worse than having fame but being broke and not being able to get a job because of the fame. And it's not because he did anything bad. It's just you had a childhood role. It just happens a lot. So he felt bad for him basically, and said, "Rest in peace." That's all.
And people gave him a hard time about that?
No one gave him a hard time. I just liked it.
Oh, you thought it was sweet?
I just thought it was sweet. Yeah.
See, this is like an example of like where me and Mrs. Cheapy just checked out half an hour ago, and now I got to rewind it. And you said something nice about David's. Oh, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, he was good. I mean, I do feel bad for those guys. Like, it sucks. Yeah.
Especially when you're a young person, you're not really physically in a space where your body can think about consequences the same way adults do. So you can't think about 30 years from now what the ramifications of this career decision will be. Like, yourself, you've been doing this for a long time. You know what you're willing to do, what you're willing not to do. You know there's ramifications to different types of exposure.
And
absolutely. It is a very sad who are the other child actors that the show has had on?
From Different Strokes, Dana Plato,
right?
Todd Bridges.
Who else? I mean, I bet you if you go down the list and find
all bad endings.
Yeah,
almost always, because you grow up being famous, right? And you think about your ego develops as a famous person, so you see yourself as like on another level than regular people. And it's not really your fault. You're a kid. You don't know any better. The adults don't figure that out. So you're a kid. I mean, how could you be so self-aware to even realize that you shouldn't be thinking of yourself that way? And then you grow up, you still think of yourself that way, but nobody else really does. And they're not looking to hire you for anything. And you have no way to make a real living other than like getting a normal job, but you'll always be Screech or whoever.
Right. And people some jerk is going to remind you at your job who you are. Yeah,
I mean, my father used to work for a big nonprofit organization, and one day he gets a phone call from a real estate broker named Dennis Potvin. And my dad's like, "Wait, Dennis Potvin, like from the New York Islanders? He's a Hall of Fame defenseman, I think." And he was like, "Yeah, he's retired now, and he's trying to make a buck. He's a real estate broker now."
Right. And he knows a lot of people, and they'll take his call. They'll take his
people like Dennis Potvin. Fuck yeah! Like exactly. He's calling on people in New York. Like everybody knows Dennis.
When
Potvin.
I call people, I tell them Kuni Manju's on the other side of the phone. Okay, recognize. I get it.
Call the police.
Is it the cops? Is it the cops?
Let's see. What else should we talk about? Howard's on. So we talked about Howard being on vacation this week.
Yes.
Is there first of all, do you agree with the way that Howard handles vacations, that he doesn't give you any notice about when the vacation's coming up? He's done this way for a long time.
Well, it started falling apart especially when ETM would blow them up and say, "Oh, you're going to be on vacation next week." Like, thanks, Eric.
Right. That's when we figured out that he was like, there's a schedule and like.
And I'd be like so pissed. So I'm on both sides. From the one side, because I understand he's putting together a product. And the best way to not kill your own spins is to not tell people when to stop listening. Sometimes I give people advice on a variety of things for my day job. And when it comes to giving performers advice or public speakers advice, it pisses me off so much when they start the speech saying, "This isn't that interesting."
Right, of course.
This isn't going to be funny.
Right.
But like, why are you telling it to me?
Right.
Right. So, I mean,
I'm already thinking it's going to be, why are you telling the person what you're saying is already going to be lame and you should start tuning out now?
Seriously, because they'll listen to you. You got the microphone. People tend to listen to the loudest voice in the room.
Right.
So my opinion about it is it makes sense. I'd be pissed if I were on his staff or if I were part of the team and he was killing our spins. At the same time,
yeah,
I understand as a fan, it's like, I'm like, come on, man. Right. Like I had planned my day around this.
But what are you going to do with that information anyway? Like, it's not like you're going to change your activity because Howard's on vacation.
Yeah, it's just a feeling of disappointment.
Sure.
But and especially now, I mean, it's not as painful. I'm reliving back when I was like habitual all day, every day for at least 8 hours a day because
cocaine? Oh, Howard, listening to Howard. Sorry.
Was it the Fultrum that gave me away? But no, yes, listen to Howard on a long period of time, regularly, and that's like when it was back on the radio, K-Rock days. That's what Cheapy's referring to, and I loved having new and fresh, man, because you never knew what was going to happen. It's going to be push-ups. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's such a relief.
He had a lot of time to fill.
Yeah, it's such a relief to think about nothing for a few hours while I'm on the way to work, instead of worrying about being late to the meeting and will I be able to pronounce the molecule correctly in front of all these people. Right. I could just relax and laugh at stupidity. And when he got the replay back in the day, it wasn't always guaranteed to be worth listening to. Right. So those
it was just anything that they would throw up anything. Yeah.
And if you're in different markets, sometimes it was just a different show. They would make the decision. It wasn't Howard's decision. If you were in some of those Midwestern or other expanding markets.
Right.
So as a listener, it was back in the day a truly painful experience. I think a lot of the complaints you might see online or like the Reddit anger stream or what have you is more scar tissue, because nowadays we have on demand capable YouTube, you got clips on Twitter. You can interact with the staff members on Twitter. I was just listening over this weekend, didn't make it on the thing, but King of All Blacks, Howard telling Gary how stupid he is because he's on vacation and he's having a Twitter fight with King of All Blacks.
I don't remember that.
I mean, like, how stupid. He's like, Larry, how stupid are you? Why do you have a Twitter?
Right.
Why do you?
Howard is not into putting out free content for Twitter. Like, Howard does not want to make tweets because he doesn't want to produce content for Twitter. Same thing with Instagram, any of that shit.
My point being.
Yep.
You can still have the show now. You just do it different. You could listen to the clips of the show you want to listen to. You don't got to get stuck with some crappy radio. So
I agree with what you're saying.
I don't feel like it's that big of a deal now.
The problem is, here's the problem.
Okay.
They don't give you a very big library to choose from, considering the amount of material out there. And
not everybody searches as avidly as I do.
Well, you're paying for Sirius, yes, and you expect the stuff would be accessible through the Sirius ecosystem, not having to go to YouTube and search out shit. Right. The other problem is he's only got 2 channels. And I remember when he signed on to Sirius, I think he talked about having like 5 channels. There were definitely a bunch of channels that were reserved for him. The number was more than 2 and less than 6.
Right.
It could be 3. But the reality is they could program more channels, because there's certain points where like I'll be listening to one channel. I'm like, all right, I don't want to listen to this. It's like it's an interview I don't care about, or I heard it a million times.
Right.
And then you go to the other channel and then there's a commercial, or both channels are a commercial.
Or both are like some birthday song that I don't want to listen to right now. I want to hear Ralph and John the Stutterer go at it because they're both great arguers. And I love listening to John the Stutterer, especially when he talks politics.
He's very fired up about that. But there's definitely enough content for 1 or 2 more channels easily. Like,
oh yeah. Do you think, see, I think at some point you got to, for your own personal health, when you've 30 years from now, okay, mm-hmm, far before that, I'm going to be telling you to experience the better parts of life. Just because people want to watch you doesn't mean they need to.
I understand.
So do you think, what?
But Howard could just take a step back and he can say, guys, why don't you just program 2 more channels? He doesn't need, at this point, he's got like a staff of 60 or something.
57.
He does not need to be involved in every little thing, and I'm sure he's not. So if they needed to program 2 more channels, it doesn't have to be original content. It can be just stuff from the archives, packaged like they had Fight Week this week. Have one channel that's all just themed packages, like Beetlejuice. This week we're doing Beetlejuice. Right. There's a lot. They just have a lot, at least for 1 more channel, and then I would be satisfied. Because people are paying a premium for Howard. on Sirius.
Yeah, well, this is a consistent theme that you've mentioned. I think he's just not engaging in the new media sphere the way that you think is the best. And I guess if only someone in his team came to him and pitched him that idea, and because he'll listen to some of his producers, they got good ideas, and maybe packaged it in a way where he felt like it wasn't more work. Because you're right,
he lost the channel. It's too late. He lost the channel. So because it was he had Howard 100, 101, 102, 103. And I know 103 is Andy Cohen's channel, and the other channels have been filled in too. So there's no more space on the dial actually. So it's
but I
mean,
late. Also in social media though, because you keep saying like the staff would some of them would make a killing on doing some of these other platforms. And from what I'm hearing from you is like they should have just thought in that direction, and they should have made it part of their business.
Who, Howard?
If they did a podcast or something.
Yeah, he can have his own Cameo app. Yeah, I think I said that last week.
Yeah.
Make some money.
Cha-ching.
But the way Howard thinks is he thinks like, I work for Sirius. Let them fucking figure it out how to make the money.
I don't want to be both. Everybody thinks they want to be both. They don't want to be both.
Have you noticed that this week's vacation programming is different than previous weeks? It seems like it's older, and I've heard like more risque stuff. Like I've heard, yeah, right. I'm not crazy, right?
You're not crazy. I love it. That's like, I mean, I'm not so much into like the shit talk and not the shit talk, but literal talking about shit.
Yeah.
Interesting to me, but I love like the conflict from back in those end of K-Rock, early Sirius days.
Right.
I love it. So this is finally. I was like,
seems
finally,
like it hasn't been happening, right?
It has not. It's usually, I think I get into the conspiracy theories.
Yes.
Definitely share me yours.
Yeah.
In the chat if you want. But I think that it was part of a plan to help make the deal, the re-signing contract. Sort of like, you do kind of a lead in for a broadcast. And I think when you're negotiating, it's the same idea. You kind of have a big sale that's about to come and close it. Okay. And I think I think that broadcasting was strategized so that it would be mass appeal listening, why Howard is so mass appeal reachable, and why Sirius should pay him more and more and more.
Wait, you're saying they're playing the older, like more risque stuff now because he promised to do that in his new contract?
I think leading up to the re-signing of the contract last year, he played the less risque stuff more. Get more ears to make the contract close better.
And now he's like, "Fuck it, I'm retiring anyway. I got them. I'm getting paid." Like,
no, it's signed. It's not. I'm retiring anyway. It's signed.
No. I mean, it probably after this contract is up. I'm sorry. After this contract is up, I'm probably retiring anyway.
Or maybe, but he always creates conflict with them before he resigns. That's the pattern. It's always, I don't know.
But what was the conflict that he created?
He didn't create conflict this time. He created confluence, and I think Sirius wants to reach everybody. Sirius isn't trying to be super duper salacious. I don't know. I could also be just completely
I like the theory.
out of my ass.
I like the theory. Like you're in. Yeah. Well, here's my whole theory on the contract renegotiation and re-signing is really super straightforward. Because I learned a lot about business from Howard, actually.
Me too. Yeah, seriously.
I learned a lot about life from Howard, but business too. But I also learned a lot about business from Michael Pachter, the video game analyst. And one thing that he's constantly saying, it's just money. Look at the money. Like the money's the most important. Money is always the driving factor behind every decision, everything. So you can make up any reason you want in your mind why you think Howard got signed for another $100 million. Because everybody, all the haters out there, think that nobody's listening anymore. Dead show, dead, whatever. They're just doing it because they don't have anything else on the channels. Any reason you tell yourself, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They have all the data. They know the list. How they know that 80% of my Sirius XM listening time is on the Howard Stern channels. They know how much money I pay every year in Sirius, and every other listener too. So they know the money that Howard brings in specifically. Like, I mean, maybe not down to the dollar, but pretty fucking close. It's like making video games these days, like and building in the microtransactions. They can sort of figure out like how much is going to come in. So at the end of the day, Sirius said, we make money paying Howard $100 million. It's profitable. It's a profitable agreement for us. As a publicly traded company, all our agreements have to be that way. And that's the only explanation, is that he's worth the money.
Right.
That always bugs me when people like think that they're just giving him $100 million because They don't have anything else. Like, what? That's not how business works.
Not how math works.
That's not how math works. They gotta get the money, and they have to decide if it's worth paying for. They're not just gonna shovel it in a hole.
Right.
It's not like owning a sailboat.
You have a sailboat?
No.
How do you know?
I don't know, because my parents owned a sailboat. It was like a really cheap, like they bought a used sailboat for $10,000. It was a 30-foot sailboat, but it was like from the 80s, and they bought it like not that, maybe they bought it 10 years ago. No, I was maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Okay.
Anyway, whatever. They always say like a sailboat is money in the water that you throw a hole in the water that you throw your money into.
I agree. Yeah. I've always wanted one. I've lived
too much work.
I used to live by the waterfront for, I want to say maybe 7 years or so. And there'd be like these, and then I used to work like in Wall Street area a lot before the world ended.
Right.
And and so does it take the ferry across, and you see all these super yachts,
right?
And I'd always be like, man, I mean, like these are, you could take them to Spain, you can go to Finland, and this, and you could land the helicopter on the back. And I always thought it'd be so cool, but I could never see myself ever doing it, because it is such a waste of money. It doesn't go in the direction you want it to go. It's like, why? I could burn my money and it will be less expensive.
Mayday. But, sorry. Bob Zeno.
Mayday.
We're going down.
Oh
no, we're on fire. We're on fire.
The boat is on fire.
Right.
The boat is on
fire. Bob Zeno in the chat is pointing out that Beetlejuice is bigger now because of millennials than Howard Stern. But the reality is Beetlejuice ain't making any money, right? Being bigger on fucking TikTok or whatever, Instagram. Some people can turn that into money.
Right.
And some people are just making funny videos that get a lot of views and aren't making any money. And
right.
So that is cool that, like, for TikTok, that Beetlejuice is creating free content for them and TikTok is making money off it. But I don't know that Beetlejuice is. Or maybe TikTok has an influencer program that I guess maybe the influencers
certainly
make
do
money now. Yeah.
No, they would be foolish not to, because you don't want to leave an Olivia Jade or a Beetlejuice to the wind, if they get crapped up by Instagram.
But I wonder if the paths to income are different for an Olivia Jade and a Beetlejuice.
I certainly would imagine that they have like a program. Yes. But here's the thing. Let me ask you.
Right.
Do you know who is managing Beat right now?
I don't.
Because when Beat had proper management.
Right.
No, I'm not throwing any arrows or any daggers at anybody. The world's in a strange place. It's hard to make money, period. People are having trouble working. So being on TikTok is probably a great thing for him. Maybe it's good for him psychologically to have an activity and to connect with an audience that likes him.
Yeah, of course.
Why not?
It's one thing to build an audience on social media and sell shirts as a way to living, and there's another thing to have a company pay you $100 million a year.
Right.
It's the different levels of earning a living. I think we can
different levels of content. But I guess so anyways, I just remember back in the day when, I forget his manager. Was it Sean? Is the guy's name?
Sean was a manager. Bobby was a manager.
I think Sean passed away.
I think Bob Zeno says Bobby is the manager now.
Bobby's the manager now. Well, he had another manager in the past, and I think he passed away.
Yes.
And he used to do different types of stuff. And I remember they came up together in the Stern kind of fandom. Yeah. And, he'd always been with Beat like all the time.
Of course. You gotta take care of him.
And I think it was his like career. I think.
Yeah, maybe.
So when that was the case, he was making decisions that were kind of in that targeted fashion for both of them. Maybe Beat is one of this guy's clients, and not this guy's career.
Right.
And you're engaged in the level that makes sense for your business to help people and be fair to your other clientele and make sure you're sharing all of your talents with everybody and opportunities and connections. And back in the day, his former manager, that's the career. So what else can we do to get Beat out there? Maybe let's put him on Twitch. And
he's apparently, Boff in the chat says that he's got health issues. Beetle's got health issues.
Oh, poor Beetle.
So Beetle's not doing public appearances or much or cameos.
Poor Beetle.
Beadle provided a lot of laughs.
It's Howard. Beadle. He's as bad as can, man.
It's unbelievable.
And he knows what he gets.
All right, I'm going to give you a choice now. We got 15 minutes left before I got to go.
Oh, crap. It's already over?
It's
Your
not
ears
already
will
over.
Stop bleeding very soon.
15 minutes. It's not already over.
15 more minutes of torture.
So we can talk about some of these other items that I have on this outline before, and not talk about like the reruns from the week.
Okay.
Or we can pick out some of the rerun stuff from the week. I don't know, like if. Well, I'll let you choose. I choose.
Okay, a drum roll, please. I think I'm gonna go with option A.
Okay.
Wait, what was option A again? I forgot.
That was the other news items that I've picked out here.
Oh yeah. I love the way your crazy brain works. You're always finding stuff I never heard of.
So yeah, I found this because I think on Google News I follow Howard Stern.
Okay.
So that whenever there's a new Howard Stern related article, it surfaces for me. So there was an article on Inc.
I just figured you're like sitting like on your toilet on your cell phone.
Typing Howard Stern into Google.
It's looking on different services to try to find something interesting for your brain because you're just tortured being stuck at home and not being able to play ping pong as often as you want.
You were right about you were right about the part being on the toilet with my phone. Everything else was incorrect. So Inc. magazine had an article, and I actually had to read through it twice to make sure it wasn't one of those advertorials, like those articles that people pay and it's really an advertisement.
Clickbaits.
So this is an Inc. magazine, and the headline is "Why This Startup Founder Literally Bet His House to Advertise on the Howard Stern Show." And it's about the people who started Boll and Branch Sheets, who are an advertiser on the show. And the guy says basically that he created these sheets, and he's a longtime Stern listener, and he knows that Howard is a great marketer because he's bought so much shit that Howard has been sponsored by over the years. And he created this product, the sheets, and he felt like, he says, I really felt that Howard and Beth would love our products and would love what they stand for, so I sent them some samples to try and heard back that Howard liked them. And he wanted to advertise on the show, but it's very expensive. It's a 6 or 7 figure minimum commitment. Okay.
6 or 7 figure.
Yes.
How many figures? So
that's 100. That's 100,000 or a million.
10,000.
No, it's 100. That's 100,000 to a million. 100,000 to millions. So the guy was like, "Whoa," because like this company was doing less than $2 million in sales a year. Okay, which is a nice business.
It's a nice business, but that's still working. You're still working every day.
He's working hard, and you can't just write a check for so.
Bad production line week, that might actually mean you don't pay yourself, you just pay everybody else payroll.
Exactly. So he literally mortgaged his house to get the money.
I would tell you don't do that, please.
And he did it, and it worked out great. He said it worked.
See, that's why you should listen to me.
He said they basically went from earning what they were earning in a year, they were earning in a month afterwards.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. What, did they tell the nature of the ad? Was it like a placement?
Oh, I've heard the ads. They're live reads. I've heard the ads. They're live reads.
They're live reads.
They also have like pre-recorded ones, but live reads I think as well. And he said the Boll and Branch generates more than 100 million in revenue.
Wow, 100 million. See, that's market research because the guy, it was a fan. He knows the show. He knows
that he would go out and bought. Like exactly. I know that when Howard said, I remember when he was on K-Rock, and there was like the FCC was cracking down and like he was under fire. He said to his audience, he talked directly to his audience, and he said, if you buy the products, if you buy my sponsor's products, they will keep me on the air.
Wow. Yeah.
He said, it's just the way it works. Like if the company can sell the ads,
right,
and you buy the product, he's like, I'm not asking for much. If you need a mattress, he said it just like this. He's like, if you happen to need a mattress, use 1-800-mattress. If you're gonna buy iced tea, get some Snapple. It's good. These are all good products, and it'll help me have some ammunition when all these people are coming out. And he was right. And so I went and I bought Snapple. Like, that's what I did. And then when he got into a fight with Snapple and he said, stop buying Snapple, I stopped buying Snapple. But
seriously?
Yeah, he's right.
He does have that ability to control and maintain an audience's attention through a commercial, and that's kind of the necessary step. Give me a second. Lock my.
I mean, I remember I thought
I'm really engaged. I said, give me a second. I had to buzz in a delivery.
Oh, is that what you were doing?
Engaged. Yes, that's what I was doing. And that's the noise too. You're welcome for that editing time.
I might admit that. I was saying
that. I no, basically point is Howard gets you to listen through the commercial because it's the show doesn't stop. You get to laugh at stuff. It might create content for the show, and then you feel like you're clued in.
The ads are funny. He makes them funny because he'll be like, "Oh fuck, I don't want to do another ad." He doesn't do that anymore, but he used to. Like back in the day, like, am I still doing these ads? Like he's always complained about it. It was funny.
Yeah, and you're like, what is this? Burt's Beeswax. Okay, Burt's Beeswax. You know, and gave it that live feeling about it. So I think that was an awesome idea. I just don't know how my stomach would have handled, my wife would have handled, my family, me mortgaging the house to put out an ad. And I understand, I respect the conviction and the gusto.
Right.
That is, I mean, obviously it paid out, but that is crazy. Cause like the Reddit guy, what's the guy's name? Not Reddit, the GameStonk guy. What's the
Wall Street Bets guy?
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever his name is, the one who started the GameStop, not the Wall Street Bets Reddit necessarily. I don't know if it's related to each person. Long story short, the guy lost what, like $19 million or something ridiculous from starting out. Similar story. I think he mortgaged his house to buy the stock.
Okay.
Didn't sell when it was up gazillions more than the mortgage of his house. It drops back to like $90 from like 400 or whatever.
Did that with GameStop?
Yes, like 2 days ago. I think I sent you a clip with like a smiley face. On the other. And so like, that's the nature. The guy didn't necessarily, the second person didn't do his GameStop research the way the Sheets family did. And he had the research to justify his leap of faith. Right. It wasn't all faith. It was a leap. It was more of a working on a hypothesis. And that was awesome. I mean, that's just crazy. I don't think I'd ever do that.
Yep.
Would you ever do that? Would you ever?
No. And I remember like a couple years ago, I thought about maybe I could buy some ads on Howard's show for Cheap Ass Gamer, like holiday season, shopping time. Like it might be worth it. I never actually got
CAG bag.
I never got to the point of even like contacting them. But have you ever seen the movie National Lampoon's Vacation? Where
those are like my favorite.
The guy asks Clark for money.
Favorite.
What's the brother-in-law? He's asking Clark for money, and he's like, "Oh, hey, what's the guy's name? Fuck,
I don't remember his name. Hey, we should do some prep before the show."
I know, right? I just thought of it. He's like, "Hey, how much? And he takes his wallet. It's like, yeah, I'd be happy to help you out. Like, how much you need?" And he's pulling the money out of the wallet. He's like, "Oh, like 15 grand," and he's like, puts the money right back in.
Back in.
That was me reading that article, like advertising on Howard. Like, oh, mortgage my house.
Oh man, I miss those movies, man. Those movies were great. It's like they understood what I thought was funny. And that's a part of why I like the Stern Show so much, because it was like the same vein of ridiculous humor. I mean, it was just perfect.
All right. The last thing I want to talk about.
There's more?
Let me see. What time is it? I wanted to talk about like why Howard seems to have the best fans and the worst fans at the same time.
Yes.
Like you have people, a lot of people like me, who, when he moved to satellite, was like, all right, here's my money. Like, I got to buy Snapple. Okay, buy the Snapple. Whatever he does, like he's going to get me
have another
to come. Yeah, I'm coming with, and you're getting money somehow. And then there's
here's another way to pay me, Jackie's joke hunt.
I would call that number. I would call the joke line. I would not listen to Jackie's joke hunt. I did go to see Jackie live at Governor's on Long Island though with my friend.
You did?
Yes.
Was it good?
I mean, he just sits and stands on stage and just tells jokes. Like he just tells the one-liners. I mean, it wasn't horrible. Like it wasn't horrible. He just tells one-liners. It's not. What do you call it?
Don't you love when you pay to go to like a performance and it's like just
I knew what I was getting.
You're like, I can't believe I paid to do this.
I could believe it. I knew what I was getting into. I had no like I knew Jackie. I did not expect anything less than what I got, or more than what I got.
But you had a point you wanted to get out, because now
right. So you got fans like me, right? Like, and I even go to see like the second string people, whatever. And then you got like the worst fans who they're still listening to the show, but they're spending, and they have, they have valid criticisms. Certainly, people have valid complaints, because your opinion is your opinion, and if it's based in reality, then it's probably, it can be valid. But they dedicate like a lot of their time to posting on the Howard Stern Reddit. And everything is just like Wiggy and Pelican, and everything is like, it's all negative. There's no peace and love. Everything sucks, to the point where every once in a while,
the energy, if you're that depressed, how do you have the energy to type it out? I'm so angry.
The worst part is that they're fucking long ass posts about how, I mean, the spelling is fucked up and like the grammar's bad, but it's like I've never posted anything on Reddit of that length about how like Beth is ugly or something, like something fucking stupid that is not, I mean, and there's some good stuff on that Reddit.
She's literally a model, and they're trying to make
like show a picture of your wife and let's see how those Reddit does. Like,
I just love like the incel talk, like, she's so hot, she's ugly. I'm mad.
It's weird, but meanwhile, those people are still listening. They're still listening to the show, so they can complain about it. It's literally, I mean, you saw, everybody saw Private Parts, in the scene where about the average Stern hater the average Stern fan listens to 1 hour and 20 minutes, and the average Stern hater listens to 2.5 hours. Same answer. Wanted to see what's next. I still want to see what he says next. I do not understand the negative fan. Does anyone else have that type of negative fandom where the people are still consuming the content, but spending the time and energy? Who?
Donald Trump. All the people who hate this man cannot stop watching him, and then coming to tell me the latest dumb thing he did.
Not an entertainer. I mean, it's
it affects their life. I get it. I see what you're saying.
Little different. I'm looking for someone in media, you're not wrong per se.
AOC.
No.
She's a political person as well.
I'm talking about an entertainer. Someone has a TV show, a radio show, a movie star, musician, someone who is just like, people have decided that they're going to spend X amount of hours a day about how much this person sucks.
And still paying. I don't know if it exists.
And still, maybe they're not paying. Maybe they're maybe they're BitTorrenting it or whatever. But you're still putting in your time and effort into something that you don't like. And then they'll say, well, I don't know. It's a weird thing. And I understand, like, what the biggest complaints are like, that Howard's a hypocrite, that he's always said that he was never, he hates these Hollywood people and he doesn't want, but like, everybody changes. If you go look at their 40 or 50 years of their life, you'll find things that they used to love to do or love to say, and that they just grew out of it, or they just, maybe it's not appropriate anymore, or maybe they just don't fucking like it anymore. Like, do you have something that you used to fucking love to do 20, 30 years ago that you just, you're too young, but like that you
I've got a lot that I used to love to do.
But maybe you just grew out of it. That you grew.
It's like I shouldn't do that anymore. Don't eat that much bacon. I don't mean bad behavior things. I don't mean like bad behavior things. I mean like things that you like maybe a hobby or something that you just like say, you know what? I'm not into that anymore. Yeah, well, I think the thing is, there isn't anybody who has an audience that will hate them that much and then get together to talk about how much they hate the person. They might hate them and still watch the film because they like this piece,
sure,
or they're funny, or what. Like Daniel Carver loves black comedians and black TV shows. He loved Sanford and Sons because they are funny, but he still hates them because he's a fool. You know what I'm saying? You can't fix stupid. So if he were able to connect in the dots in his head that, hey, maybe they're not as bad because I like them, he would have a more unified experience when he watches the show, right? These people feel good feelings instead of negative feelings when they watch the show, but they can't get that part. They can't trust their own taste. They can't trust their own. They should think it's good because they like it.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, they also... Or they like the community that they've built around hating something. so that they can log into the Reddit and they can
Bust
make some
balls,
dumb
too.
joke about Beth
yeah,
looking like a horse, like they wouldn't like be lining up to like drink her bathwater.
Thanks for that image, Mike. That's what I needed.
Or like, making fun of Shuli, making fun of Shuli and like everything negative. Like, oh, Shuli bought a house. Oh, he's going to be bankrupt
yeah, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's all. That was it. I would just think everything is like they have to take everything and make it negative, and it's like just move on, or stop listening to the show, or just focus on something positive. Like, how can you, like you said, how can you feel good about yourself spending time on some negative shit?
You keep thinking how bad why am I wasting my time? I hate this man.
I don't know if you're a sports right. Like if you're a sports guy, like let's say you like the Mets and you hate the Yankees.
Right.
Maybe you do. I don't know because I'm not into sports anymore. Maybe you probably don't go on the Yankees Reddit or wherever and be like, oh, fucking, I can't even name a single Yankee. I know I'm fucking horrible. Automatically fucking is garbage.
All I know the character, the players that Artie mentions, like
yeah, exactly.
Max Texera, A-Rod. He's even related to the.
Right.
I'll learn from baseball. All I remember is what Artie talked about 20 years ago.
Sublime in the chat says Stuttering John is the living embodiment of that Reddit.
Well, the thing is here, it's also like if you're in a room of people and you're breaking balls, like back when I used to do this at bars, like get drunk and just talk about nonsense and then people would listen to me. Well, you can get attention if you want attention. You could get more attention if you're ragging on people. It's easier to get a laugh with a negative snipe than it is sometimes. Of course. You have to work harder to get a laugh from a positive statement.
Look at Howard's career. He built his whole career on it, and that's what he's getting away from now because he's not fucking 30 anymore, and he's doesn't want to do that anymore.
But diverse audience is a good thing. And I think this is also, they say, you reap what you sow. And he sowed the seeds of this audience with that. So that's why they exist now and grew the way they did. So it is kind of and that's why people change, because they have foresight and they say, or now they have hindsight and they say, I shouldn't have, maybe only having negative stuff, maybe being so mean to Gary that his mother calls my mother to tell me to stop calling Gary a monkey. Maybe I didn't need to call him a monkey.
Of course.
Maybe.
I mean, this topic, honestly, I think this topic is really interesting because, like I said, I don't think it exists anywhere outside Howard Stern, this type of negative fandom. I mean, it must be, and maybe somebody in the feedback can...
Well, who's another negative performer?
Like, I don't know that they've had to that level where the people are still consuming the content so they can criticize it.
They usually die out.
It's weird. Now,
King of All Blacks tries to do it, and he can't get it. I mean, Larry's making a good effort at it, but he can't get any headway because people don't want to hear him rag on. He's not funny. It's,
Bob Zeno in the chat he has a lot of good points. He says, I understand the change. Seeing a 60-year-old do things a 30-year-old do would be strange. The only thing that upsets me is how he treats people who leave the show and making his archive and he doesn't make his archive available, his whole archive available.
I agree with that completely. Sometimes you got to get over yourself. And I think the mistake is it's named the Howard Stern Show. So he has trouble realizing it is still a show. And guess what? This idea was bigger than him. It's not that he's bigger than the idea. The idea was bigger than him. It created a gigantic, very valuable business that is so multifaceted. People mortgage their houses to put an ad on it and make their fame on that.
Make their money on it. Yeah.
Their money on it. Captain Jenks got a following from making phone saying Baba Booey at times or Howard Stern's penis. That's it.
It would be cool if Howard, as he matures and just changes, if he could loosen the grip, loosen up, like literally loosen up on the show in terms of those types of rules. But I don't
it's
think
bigger than him. It's going to become a legacy. Let it be that. Let it grow. Let it be something, the positivity you planted over the last half a century of work.
Well, I got to take my kid to math. So we've reached an end of another episode. I could talk about that topic again. It's going to come up again. I want to remind everybody to subscribe to our show. It's on iTunes please. Now. It should be on Google, hopefully, by the time you get to it. But just Google Proper Modulation Podcast if you want to find us. And follow us on Twitter at Proper Mod Pod.
At Proper Modulation, at Proper Mod Pod.
And that's it. We'll see you next time.
you next time, everybody. Peace.